Hey everyone, Complex back with another video, and today we're back to SWTOR, and to celebrate SWTOR officially launching on Steam, I thought we'd do a video of me giving you my top 33 tips in case you're new, or maybe you're coming back after a while, or maybe you just want to kind of brush up on all things SWTOR. So let's just dive on into it. And tip number 1, customize your UI. That's right, SWTOR does allow you to customize your UI to your heart's content. So make sure that you customize it to your preferences, and then also make sure that you save it. So then that way you can easily apply it to a new character in the future. Tip number 2, start your legacy. I have an entire video talking about legacy, but you have to be a level 10 and also have completed the starting planet class storyline. And then once you do that, hit Y on your keyboard, start up your legacy, and then that way you can enjoy all of the benefits that come with it. Tip number 3, the influence for your companions is a max level of 50. The higher that you get your influence with a companion, the more damage / better that they are overall at combat. Tip number 4, your approval / disapproval with a companion does not affect when you get certain story conversations with them. When you're either on your ship or in your stronghold or canteen, anything like that, and they have the yellow triangle over them in order to talk to them, that is actually story-based, so you don't actually have to worry about whether or not they like you to progress their story. You just have to keep progressing that main story. Tip number 5, your legacy has a variety of quality of life improvements for your character. Now, some of these are legacy bound, which means that once you unlock it, it is unlocked for every single character within that legacy, and some of them are character only. So make sure that you are paying attention to both the other tab in your legacy as well as the character tab. Tip number 6, you can turn off general chat. You'll thank me later, but you can turn off general chat. Tip number 7, quick travel. There is a quick travel ability. It is located in your abilities under general, and you can slot it in to any of your quick bars. You can use that to traverse planets quickly and efficiently, so then that way it doesn't feel like you're doing a whole heck of a lot of traveling once you've started to unlock a particular area. Tip number 8, a quick transport. That is something that if you open up the galaxy map, you will notice in the bottom left-hand corner that there is a little image of your ship. If you click that, you can purchase the upgrade after you meet the requirements, and you can quickly travel back to your ship at any point should you need to. Tip number 9, you can have multiple tabs for your chat box, which is normally located in the upper left-hand corner, and you can actually drag and drop that tab out, so you can actually have multiple tabs across your screen if that's easier. You can also go ahead while you're in there and filter out what kinds of chat that you can and cannot see. Tip number 10, do your conquest. Conquest gives you rewards for your character, and if you belong to a guild, it's going to help out your guild, and if your guild completes the guild conquest for the week, you'll also get some sweet rewards once that rolls through at reset. Tip number 11, get the security key. It's a free 100 cartel coin a month, plus it keeps your account super secure. Next up, the GTN is the Galactic Trade Network. You can find it on the fleet, in core worlds, at some of the hub stations. You can find it in your guild if you have one that has a GTN in it. You could also buy one for yourself to have in your stronghold, and it basically allows you to trade with other players. You can look and see what players have listed, and you just pay for it and you get it. And it's a great way to get yourself a whole heck of a lot of different items, including cartel items that you might not have the cartel coin to purchase. Tip number 13, the cartel items, whether you get them from the cartel market or the GTN, once you unlock them, you only unlock them for that one character that has equipped it. Now, if it's an armor and you purchase it, you do want to make sure that you put on the full set of armor on your character, not in one of the cosmetic slots, but actually on your character in order to unlock it for your collections. And then you do need to purchase separate a account unlock, and then it doesn't matter what server you're on, anything like that, what legacy you're doing. Once it's unlocked for your account, it is unlocked for your account, but that is a separate purchase. Tip number 14, level up your speeder so that way you can move faster. You can either do that at one of the trainers that are located in any of the worlds or on the fleet, or if you look into your legacy, you will see that for your character specific portion of the legacy, that there is the option to upgrade your speeder there. Tip number 15, if you haven't yet, consider a 1-month sub. The nice part is if you do get yourself a 1-month sub to SWTOR, It gives you not only preferred status and more character slots, but it also will unlock all of the DLCs up until the point that you subbed. So if you sub today, you will get everything up until this point for life. You don't need to sub again, anything like that. They're just yours. So definitely something worth doing. There is an adaptive gear vendor and a class vendor. The adaptive gear vendor you can find on the fleet. The gear vendor for each of the classes you can find on one of the 2 home worlds. And they have some interesting armors that are not that expensive and great to use for a cosmetic armor. Plus, most of those are legacy bound, so you can go ahead and reuse them on other characters in the future. Tip number 17, if you need to access the DLCs, whether Fallen Empire, Shadow of Revan, Eternal Throne, Onslaught, anything like that, there is a terminal that is located on your ship. It has a purple triangle over the top of it, and once you hit a particular level and you're ready to unlock those DLCs and start playing them, it will light up, so then that way you can access them easily. Tip number 18, there are rotating events in SWTOR, and these rotating events all have their own individual factions, and these factions all have different items that you can get once you start progressing through your faction levels with them. You can access and see how high you are in your rep with each of the factions by hitting Y on your keyboard and looking at the factions. A lot of them have like decos, armors, mounts, pets, stuff like that, so definitely make sure that you are participating in those events when you're ready to. Tip number 19, get yourself a stronghold. The more strongholds / unlocks that you have, the better your bonus for conquest. That does get capped, but it is definitely good to start with at least 1 stronghold and get it as unlocked as possible. Not only that, just decorating a stronghold is fun, and it is nice to have a base of operations for your characters. Tip number 20, you can save custom key bindings and then apply them to any of the characters that you need to. So if you're somebody like me that is very specific on what all your key bindings are and where they go, you can save that and then just easily apply it to any new character. Tip number 21, heroics and flashpoints are not only fun, but they're a fantastic way to get yourself better gear and more credits if you are looking for some in-game money. Tip number 22, maps can be big and windy. It's easier to follow the roads in some cases, so just make sure you're paying attention to your map and to where you're going, and don't try to take shortcuts on certain planets like Taurus. That place, it's confusing. Trust me. Follow the roads. You'll get there quicker in the end. Also, tip number 23, the maps have filters. On the left-hand side of your map, you can see that there are things that you can check off and uncheck off. One of the things that you can check off to see, by default it is turned off, will actually allow you to see extra quests and stuff like that should you like to do it. Tip number 24, you can have 1 flying pet and 1 like kind of ground / walking based pet out at any given time. Tip number 25, for free-to-play and preferred players, you do have a 1 million credit cap. An easy way to make sure you don't go over that amount is to store them in your legacy storage, which is the yellow storage. You can either access that in your stronghold, at your guild, should your guild have one, as well as on the fleet and some other areas. Tip number 26, crafting, especially the artifice skill line, can be a good way to make money. Crafting is a little confusing depending on what it is that you want to do, but leveling up your crafting is not only good to make money, but it is also a fantastic way to up your companion rep in very small amounts, but still it's there. And it's also a great way to get yourself some more dark side or light side points depending on your character. Tip number 27, mail doesn't last forever. Most mail only lasts for 30 days unless it is something that comes directly from SWTOR, not the GTN, but SWTOR itself. So make sure that you're claiming, screenshotting, or reading any mail that might be coming in on your character before it expires. Tip number 28, you can find some codes for some free stuff such as titles, pets, armor, stuff like that. So if you kind of just search for SWTOR free codes, you will see that there are a couple of different places where you can find some codes. Those codes you can redeem on the SWTOR website. Tip number 29, at any vendor that you visit, you will notice that when their inventory pops up on the bottom left-hand side, there is a repair option. Make sure that you stick with it and keep repairing your gear, so then that way it is always fully functional. There is also, as a bonus, a quick sell all junk button, so it just gets rid of all the junk that you don't necessarily need. Tip number 30, hit the escape button before a conversation is over, and that will reset the conversation and put you back to before you started it. This is a fantastic way to hear all of the conversation options, or maybe you accidentally hit an option that you don't like. Hit the escape button, restart it over. Tip number 31, crystals will have a plus something stat to it. So plus 41 crit, plus 41 mastery, so on and so forth. So make sure that you're paying attention to what kind of crystal that you are slotting into your weapon at any point to make sure that you're getting the right buff for your character. Tip number 32, hit K on your keyboard to pull up your proficiency menu. Their proficiencies are kind of like subclasses for each of the characters, and you can get yourself some extra abilities that way as well as some buffs to it. Now, tip number 33, Datacrons. You can find these across all of the different planets in SWTOR, and there are a bunch of different guides available to finding them, but Datacrons will allow you to get permanent buffs to your characters. Now, if you want to see what Datacrons you have already found, if you look at your legacy menu, you will see that there is a spot for Datacrons on the left-hand side. Just click in and you can browse and see what you do and don't have. But y'all, that is going to be it from me. Those are my personal top 33 quick tips to get you started in SWTOR. There are a ton of other tips that you can find in a variety of places. I even have more SWTOR videos, and I will link the playlist for you in the description down below so you can go through and learn about some topics a little bit more in depth. But hopefully this helps just to get you started. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below, or go ahead and find me on Twitch. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and or day, depending on where you are in the world, and I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.